If you're the kind of person who's always curious, wanting to understand what makes things tick, but you just don't have the time to go through all the source material yourself, this deep dive is for you.
Mm-hmm.
We do the digging for you. We take all that dense information and pull out the key insights so you get that aha moment without all the legwork.
Right.
Today, we're looking at something pretty fascinating. How does a product build an identity around, well, perfection? What makes a specialty coffee, for instance, so premium?
And we're really zooming in on a specific one.
We are. We're talking about 100% Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee,
Mm-hmm.
or JBM. Our sources today are mostly from a specific trader, Island Coffee Traders.
So we're looking at their marketing, their product description.
Exactly. We're looking at the claims they make about where this coffee comes from and the incredible quality control they say they have. It's a great case study. Okay, let's unpack this.
So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We want to cut through the marketing spin just a little and get to the core reasons this coffee is positioned as a premium product.
Right, the verifiable stuff.
Exactly. We're focusing on the big claims they make. There's the unique growing environment, the way they source the beans, and then this really intense quality control process.
And by the end of this, what should you, the listener, walk away with?
You'll understand the full stack, the whole set of factors from the actual geology of the island to the specific human labor involved that they say justifies that premium price tag.
So you can see the substance behind the label. Let's start at the beginning then. With any agricultural product like this, it always starts with the environment, the terroir.
Absolutely.
We can't fake that. And the claims about Jamaica Blue Mountain's geography are, well, they're extremely specific. They're basically saying this quality is impossible to create anywhere else. Here's where it gets really interesting.
It does, because they don't just say it's grown in a good place. They stack these environmental factors one on top of the other to create this kind of perfect storm for quality.
A chain reaction.
Yeah. They call it a growing environment that's unique and unlike anywhere else. And they pin that on 3 specific things working together.
Okay, so let's break that down. The first one is altitude, which is pretty common for high-end coffee, right?
It is. High altitude means colder temperatures, and that forces the coffee cherry to ripen much more slowly.
And why is that slow ripening so important?
Well, it gives the bean inside more time to develop complex sugars. And those sugars are what turn into all the nuanced, interesting flavors when you roast the coffee.
So it's about complexity.
Right. If you grow it fast and low, you get a lot of coffee, but it's simple. The altitude is kind of the price of entry for premium quality.
But they go way beyond just altitude in the sources. They talk about a microclimate, specifically these low-hanging clouds.
Exactly. And this is a huge deal. The material points to these clouds as a unique climate moderator. It's not just a pretty picture.
It's functional.
It's vital. These clouds keep the plants damp, sure, but the big thing is they act like this constant insulation. They keep the whole jungle cool.
So it's not just that the altitude makes it cold. The clouds are stopping it from getting too hot or too cold. They're stabilizing the temperature.
Precisely. Think about it. If you had direct, harsh sun beating down on those plants all day, even at high altitude, you'd get thermal stress. The clouds act like a natural diffuser, a filter.
Maintaining that slow, steady ripening process day in, day out.
Exactly. It creates consistency. And then you pair that with the third piece of the puzzle, the geology.
The soil itself.
The volcanic soil. It's famous for being porous, which means perfect drainage. The roots don't get waterlogged, but it's also packed with minerals that the plants just slowly absorb.
So it's all 3 things. Altitude for slow growth, clouds for temperature control, and volcanic soil for nutrients and drainage.
That's the synergy they're claiming. It's an environmental fingerprint that defines the product. You can't just grow coffee at 5,000 feet and call it the same thing.
Okay, so that sets the stage. Nature provides this perfect raw material, but then, people had to get involved. How do they make sure they don't mess it up?
That is the perfect transition, because we move from the natural environment to the active human part of the equation.
Sourcing and processing.
Right. And the sourcing method itself is presented as a major point of quality. The materials say it's sourced directly from a collection of small farmers.
Direct trade. You see that term a lot in the specialty world.
We do, and they use this very specific phrase, the true essence of direct trade sourcing. Now, that's a loaded term. It implies more than just cutting out a middleman.
What does it imply then?
It implies a real, sustained relationship with those farmers. It suggests price transparency, paying a premium way above the market rate, and maybe even long-term contracts.
So the idea is to incentivize the farmers to keep up that quality.
Exactly. It connects the financial side directly back to the agricultural quality we just talked about. You're rewarding them for maintaining those perfect conditions.
So the sourcing maintains the quality set by the terroir. Then what happens once the beans are harvested?
This is where it gets frankly staggering.
Yeah.
The quality control claims. This is the second pillar, and it's all about labor and attention to detail.
The sources mention strict quality control. So walk us through what that actually looks like.
Well, it starts with hand picking. That's
Yeah.
pretty standard for specialty coffee. You only pick the perfectly ripe cherries, but that's just the starting line.
Right.
The claim that really stands out is that they wash and sort each coffee bean individually,
Wait, individually, one by one.
one by one.
But don't they have machines for that? High-tech optical sorters that can do that in a fraction of a second.
They do. And this is the point. The claim here is that they're using, or at least supplementing that with, intense manual labor. A person's eyes on every single bean.
A human commitment to a near-zero defect rate.
That's the idea. An optical sorter is fast, but it's using an algorithm. A trained person can spot things a machine might miss, tiny imperfections, underripe beans called Quakers, insect damage,
Anything that could spoil the taste of a batch.
even slightly. So this intense manual process is positioned as the ultimate guarantee that, as the source says, only the best quality coffee is brought to harvest.
So that gives you a very tangible reason for the high price. The labor cost of that must be immense. You're paying for a level of human attention that's just, it's worlds away from mass-produced coffee.
It is. So now you can see the flow, right? The unique geography creates a high potential product, and then this intense individual sorting ensures the purity of that product.
Let's pull back for a second and connect all these dots.
Okay.
The sources use this very emotive language. The coffee is passionately grown, processed, roasted, and packaged. That word, passionately, seems to be the fuel for all this effort.
I think so. It's the human drive behind the willingness to do all that meticulous individual work. It frames it as a craft, not just a process.
And what's interesting is they connect that passion directly to the customer. It's not just for its own sake.
No, absolutely not. The sources are very clear that the goal of everything, from the clouds and the soil to the hand sorting, is to achieve the highest customer satisfaction.
So every high-cost step is framed as an investment in your final experience.
Exactly. It's the ultimate justification for their claim of offering Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee of the highest quality. It all comes back to the person drinking it.
So what does this all mean for you? You're listening to this. Maybe you're just curious about what makes things expensive. What's the key takeaway here?
The takeaway is to look for specifics. When you see a claim like highest quality, you should immediately look for the verifiable reasons behind it.
Not just vague adjectives.
Right. And for this coffee, the two big memorable ones are, first, that cool, damp microclimate created by low-hanging clouds over volcanic soil. That's the nasal part.
And the second.
The commitment to sorting beans individually. That's the human labor part. Those are the two specific details that give substance to the marketing.
So you're really learning to spot the language of a legitimate, high-cost, quality commitment.
Those are the anchor points, yeah.
Yeah.
The rarity of the environment and the intensity of the labor.
That makes sense.
And that actually raises a pretty important question for you to think about. We've seen that every single step is handled with this intense, passionate, individual bean level of control.
Right.
So if you have this rare environment and this incredibly specialized, immense labor requirement, what does that level of high-effort control suggest about the kind of scale and pricing you need just to make that operation sustainable?
That's a great final thought. If your definition of quality involves touching every single item, you can't possibly make a lot of it. The commitment itself dictates the scarcity and the cost. That's something for you to mull over the next time you see a specialty product. The depth of the commitment has to match the height of the price. And with that, we've unpacked the story of 100% Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee. That's all for this deep dive. We'll talk to you next time.